How's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm making it. I didn't catch you at a bad time, did I?
No, no,
Everything's
no,
still
no,
good?
no, no, not at all. I do like a Facebook Live sort of thing with my clients normally at like 7:30. I did it a little bit earlier,
Okay, okay.
and today was a day they had like a million questions. So,
How, so what were the questions about? If you
I
don't
was
mind
just
me asking.
just general stuff like off-plan meals, supplements, and stuff they should be taking, and then they just
Gotcha.
normally ask me questions about like my prep and how my prep's going. So they're a
Mhm.
good bunch, though.
Yeah. Are you, as far as like supplements, what kind of stuff do you recommend?
I mean, it depends on who they are and like what they're trying to achieve. Like, I mean, normally if they're like beginners, I just try and get them to sort of nail the basics, and just get like good
Mhm.
food in them and that. And then if they want to sort of achieve like get that last sort of percentage up, then I start recommending like essential amino acids, creatine.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And
A little more like to help them with their, you know, development.
yeah, yeah.
So do you prefer Deborah or Debbie?
Debbie, not Deborah's quite formal for me, but like Debbie, whatever you like.
Awesome.
Are we recording now? Are we?
We are, but if you rather
No,
me
no, no,
cut
that's
that
fine.
part, okay.
No, no, no. I'm just making sure I'm not going to say anything bad while we're recording.
Yeah. So that means I got to watch out for you, right, man? You might say something bad.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here. I tend to swear a lot, and I do get myself into trouble. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'll keep it tame.
that would be good. Yeah, that would be good. Thanks. So where are you located, Deb?
So I don't know if you're familiar with parts of the UK. So down right at the bottom on the south coast. I'm in somewhere called Cornwall.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not familiar with it, but I mean, I know a general outline, you know, of the
Yeah,
map, so I can kind of see like where that is. So are you close to the coast then? Are you
yeah,
so
yeah.
okay. Do you guys
Yeah.
so do you guys actually have a beach there?
We do have beaches. Yeah, we. I mean, people travel from up country, so like London, wherever, and they come here because we've got actual beaches where,
Mhm.
further up there you've got somewhere called Brighton, but they've got a beach per se, but it's more like rocks and pebbles and stuff. It's
Gotcha.
slice your feet on it sort of thing. This down
Yeah.
here, but proper beaches.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, when I'm thinking of coast, like you know, it could be a beach, it could be like just a regular like rocky coast. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's interesting. So I guess you guys are, you know, in a pretty hefty lockdown. I just had a podcast with a girl from the UK right before you. So how has that been going for you since since everything kind of shut down?
Oh, it's I was gonna say it's a proper pain in the ass. It's ridiculous. I mean, you'll get people that say, it's all for the grace of good and whatnot, but I think it's just beyond a joke now. It's so
Hmm.
difficult for a lot of people. I mean, I'm still training. I'm lucky to have like a decent amount of equipment at my sort of disposal. But there's other people that don't, and I think it's just, yeah, like I said, it's just gone on too long now. And it's so much so for like affecting people's mental health and stuff as well. It's not just, like someone just goes there to look good aesthetically. It's in terms of gym and stuff, it's just so many people are being deprived of just keeping themselves fit and healthy and just having that sort of thing they go out and do and to keep them busy, because
Yeah.
you're stuck in the house all day really. You're not really allowed to travel too far from home. They can sort of question you for what you're doing. You read all types of stupid stuff, like if you've got a fresh haircut, or you've got your lashes done or your nails, they can question you over that. I mean,
Wow,
whether
it's
that's
that
true,
that strict. Hmm.
um, I've not seen it personally, but whether that's true, I don't know.
Um,
We've sort of, there's been sort of crazy stuff. I don't know if you follow a lot of like the like Nathan Diasher. Have you seen that in the UK? Where
Yes, I saw that video where the police is this what you're referring to, where there
yeah,
were several
yeah,
police members and they kind
yeah,
of attacked them, I guess you could say,
yeah,
for lack of a better word. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know like the depths of it. So so what exactly happened in that situation? I saw the video.
So I've seen the video, and I follow him and watch a lot of stuff. So
Hmm.
he's obviously cares a lot about his community and cares a lot about mental health and keeping people fit and healthy. And like, there's been so
Hmm.
many suicides and stuff as well.
Right, right.
It's got a massive impact on people. I think he's trying to keep his gym open, but they detained him and he was handcuffed and everything, and they still, one of the policemen assaulted him, which you can clearly see in the video.
Yes, I saw
There's
that.
about eight policemen around him. It's just seeing stuff like that, and it's kind of like it's almost become like a police country. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's quite bad.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like the treatment that he got was something that you would think, like you would think it would be given to, not that I encourage, that kind of treatment to anybody, but that it would be given to some kind of hardcore like criminal or something. And it's like he, when someone looks at that video and you tell them this is the treatment that he received because he just tried to keep his gym open, that's like that kind of gives you like some context. I mean, they could have just fined him, they could have, like, they didn't have to arrest him. They for sure didn't have to
No.
strike him while he was already down. So yeah, that's a crazy video. I saw it just a few weeks ago, I guess, when it happened. So
Yeah. I mean, so
mhm.
so to that sort of extent, it's I think it's just wearing thin on everyone a lot, and I'm assuming it's the same across the whole world, really, isn't it? I don't.
Yeah.
What's your sort of current state there? Is it?
So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's so in the United States, there's like a lot of, and I'm sure you probably know from the news and everything, but there's really like a battle of two types of thought processes, and the one that you know we don't need masks, we don't need restrictions, we don't need anything, and then you have the other side, which are basically like we need all the restrictions we can get.
Yeah.
Right now, so the gyms are open, a limited capacity. um, Stores are open, things like that, but of course masks are required everywhere. It's not nearly as bad as you're describing in the UK, though. It's UK seems like you guys are completely like locked down. I
Yeah. I mean,
mean,
like you can. I mean, I've traveled places and not been pulled over, but I mean, again, I'm in like in Cornwall. I don't think we're as bad. I think it's
mhm.
when you go to like the major cities and stuff like London, Manchester, Liverpool. They're the ones that are a lot more enforced from
Yeah,
what I've seen.
yeah.
But I mean, it's not good. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
the girl that I talked to just before you, she was planning on coming to see the Olympia in December, and the with the restrictions, they wouldn't allow anybody to fly out. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, you're only allowed to fly if it's like for work or essential travel. I mean, you've got a lot of people at the minute that are from the UK, especially going to places like Dubai.
Mhm.
I don't know why that's allowed, but I mean, they're doing that. So yeah, it's you're not really allowed to do very much at all. Obviously, all the shops are closed. Fast food chains are open, coffee shops are open for like takeaway. Supermarkets are obviously open, and that's literally about it.
Yeah, that's is there a time frame of when they think they're going to start pulling back restrictions? I know the vaccines have been rolling out. Like, did they give you guys any kind of idea?
So there's a review going on the 22nd of February,
Mm,
and then the prime minister's gonna sort of lay out what and how and if it's going to ease off. But I mean, we went into lockdown, around this time last year, so it's been about a year. That was about 4 months we did that for, and that was
yeah.
again a big lockdown. We should have just stayed in it so we could just carry on with our lives.
Right, right, right. Yeah, interesting. So with as far as you personally, I know that like all the gyms are shut down, so official gyms, I guess. Um, how does that affected you, like from the training aspect? Like, how do you train people now?
So how do I train what clients?
Yes, correct.
So yeah, I train all my clients are online.
Hmm.
So I literally have my own sort of like network I use. I do like video feedback. I get them to send videos. I analyze their videos and they do like check-ins and stuff with me as well, so I can
Hmm.
actually give them like still one-to-one, essentially, and just give it to them from a uh, virtual sort of perspective.
Hmm.
So it works really well, and I mean they get on with it really well. Um, I mean, if anything, like when lockdown happened, I was working in a gym as a full-time like personal trainer coach. And when lockdown hit, my place that I worked was they basically furloughed everyone, then made us all redundant. And then that pushed me into being like, right, I've got to do something. And then I've just gone into running my online business, which has gone really, really well.
Hmm.
And works well as well for me doing prep and stuff like that. So I'm kind of, yeah, not in a bad position, to be fair. So
So
quite
you
grateful.
you transitioned from the physical training to online when the pandemic happened. Before that,
Yeah,
you weren't doing much online.
I had a few online clients, but I really like training people one to one. It's just something I love doing. I love the training aspect sort of stuff, but it forced me to go into it. And actually, I found, I do still really enjoy. I can still give them the same type of like service. I can still provide them with like the correct sort of, I'm correcting their form and their technique and stuff. And it's just something
Sure,
I just like doing. So yeah, it's not really affected me too badly, to be fair. And
sure.
I work from home the entire time, but now I'm working from home, training from home, sleeping at home, eating at home. It's gets a bit much, but I can't say that I'm not in like in a. I'm grateful to be in the position
Mhm.
I'm in at the minute, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that have been hit very hard. Especially like we said with the Asher, but then also just other gym owners. Like,
Mhm.
how do you continue to run your business, and how do you continue to keep paying bills and so forth if you can't function as a business anymore? It's that's literally impossible. I mean, I don't see how my gym just shut down a few was it about a month or so ago, and we were on some restrictions, not 100%. So I don't know how you stay financially viable with having no clients, no
They're
no
struggling.
options.
The businesses are struggling. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of places that won't reopen at all once
Mhm.
lockdown's eased. And that I'm a member of like a couple of gyms, and I still pay my memberships, just to keep them like, because
Yeah,
I want to go back there and I want them to reopen, so I'm going to carry on supporting them.
yeah,
And I think that's what people, if people can afford to do that, that's what people should do. But the government provides them with grants, but it's not enough. Like what
yeah,
they give them is not
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I'm sure the grants aren't close to what they would normally, be making, or how much they probably need to pay for, the buildings and everything else that they require. I'm sure there's insurance costs as well, like for them, you know. So your transition to online, you're doing well. Um, did you like notice any kind of like differences are like between online and in person, or have you like everything just kind of went real smooth and all your clients have adapted to the online version of your training?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a smooth transition. I mean, I transferred a lot of clients over, and then I took on a lot of new clients
Hmm.
fresh from just online, and it was all new to them. And it's I think now more than ever, it's really important for people just to have like that accountability. Know that they're doing something right and know they're moving in the right direction, even though it's quite limited what they're doing at home. They're still able to achieve something. And it's good
Right.
to be a part of that. But yeah, it's quite a smooth transition for me, really, and I think it's because I've been doing it for quite a few years. It wasn't just going like, oh, I want to go from a job in retail to this,
Mhm.
something that I have, knowledge and experience in. So it was quite a nice transition for me. It's taken time, but it was nice. It was a nice transition. Yeah.
Good. Do you see yourself so let's say the pandemic is lifted, do you see yourself ever going back to the like old style of face to face, or do you think that this is kind of the new wave? Maybe it was pushed on by the pandemic, but do you see like a lot of trainers, including yourself, like just sticking with the online aspect of it?
I think there will be people that will stick to it. I will definitely stick to this as my main, my main business, my main income. But there will be people that I would like to train in person.
Mhm,
I will only train specific people in person. So like if I'm doing like a bodybuilding client or posing or something like that,
mhm.
they're the ones I will see in person, because again, I do still enjoy that aspect of it. But I think there will be a lot of people that will just stick to online.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like that's the everything is kind of going that way. Even non-fitness related things, like just my regular job. I transitioned to at home, and I don't. And everyone that I know is now, unless they're physically, their job requires them to physically do something. If it's having to do with computers or anything remotely like that, they're all doing it at home, and I don't see them ever going back to an office, setting. So,
No, I
yeah.
mean it's good in that aspect, but like I said before, when you're doing literally everything from home, you're not really getting that. You're missing your commute to work. You're missing like getting out and about and stuff, and it can to an extent, it can be too much, you know. So I like, for example, I make sure, I now in prep, I'm going out and getting my steps in and stuff like that between doing work. So I'm making sure that I'm still detaching myself away from work in some aspects, because
Mhm.
you know all too well you could be sat down on your computer or doing whatnot for hours.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it like, are you, I guess, are you saying like it can become mentally kind of hard, mentally depressing to be in the same place, doing everything, there, the same setting? Is that kind of where you're coming
I
from?
think I think in lockdown, 100%, yeah. I think when lockdown's lifted, not so much, because you can then have your commute to the gym. You can go out and do like your everyday things that you're doing before, but you just work from home then, so it's not as bad. But I think lockdown, when it's like lockdown, yeah,
Yeah.
it can be quite hard. Um,
Yeah. So are your clients primarily lifestyle clients, or are they competitive?
so it's a mixture really. I literally, I've got about 5 or 6 competitors, and then the rest. So I've got like 35 clients. So the rest are lifestyle clients.
Mhm.
I enjoy working with both, to be honest. I know as a competitor myself, competitors can be quite they can be quite needy.
Yes.
I'm talking from my own experience from me. You can become, and it's nice to have a good balance between the two. But I
Mhm.
do really enjoy both clients really. Everyone's got a different journey and stuff, and it's nice to change people's lives in whatever way they come to you for, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as competitors, what divisions do you usually train? Do you train men and women, or is this particular divisions in the sport that you prefer to
So
train?
like I've got bikini and figure girls,
Okay.
and then I've helped physique guys before.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I wouldn't mind helping bodybuilder guys, but I think depending on like, if they go over a certain like category or something, I don't think I could prep them. Like if they're going over like 300 pounds or something like that, it's not. I don't think I'm the correct person to go for. And I know my limits. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I can prep you.
So if Big Rammy came to you, you'd be like, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry, you're
Uh,
over
oh,
the weight limit.
I'd be absolutely terrified if Big Rammy came to me. Not because he's scary. I'd just be like, I cannot. There'd be too much pressure. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I wouldn't know where to start.
Mhm. No, that's understandable. It's easier when you kind of like when you already know what you're doing, like from yourself. You've done it yourself. You know what to do, and you've got that experience, so you can help. If you're not a 300-pound male bodybuilder, it's hard to train one, right? Yeah. So
I think there's certain coaches for them. There's like all like Chad Nichols and all that lot. That
sure.
and Harney Rambo and stuff.
Yeah,
That,
yeah, that's on them.
like
Yeah,
the top.
that's on them. Yeah. So what did you think? Speaking of Big Rammy and I guess the Olympia this last year, what did you think of it overall? Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it. Yeah, I did watch
Mhm.
it.
And
I like that I've been rooting for Big Ramy for ages, and it was
Mhm.
just literally just couldn't get the conditioning, could he? So I think he deserved the win. Like, yeah, and
Mhm.
he was the best man there that day. So
Yeah, yeah.
um I
There's
think,
not a
but
whole lot of there's not a whole lot of argument on that. I mean, I think Brandon looked really good, and he's actually here in Nashville, and he's got a couple of gems here. I think the second place is really deserved. For him. What did you think of Phil Heath? Do you recall what he looked like?
I mean, he's like one of the best in the world, so you can't
Mhm.
take that away from him. But he did fall short this year, gone.
Yeah.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can come back, because it's all to do with the distension, isn't it, in the midsection, and he's lost it really, hasn't he?
Yeah, and see that's the thing. I think most people were thinking the surgery that he had or it was going to fix that, and it didn't look like it did. And I feel like it would be hard for him to crack that first second place. Honestly, a lot of people that thought I was listening to, I think, Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto talk about it, and a lot of them thought that even third place for him was kind of like a gift, because he was already like a 7-time champion. So
Hardy looked really good as well, didn't he? I
yes,
mean,
he did.
he's
Yeah.
placed higher.
I'll be curious to know Flex Lewis, how he's going to do in the Open, because he
Yeah,
looks really good. And from what I heard, that he sucks down a lot to get to 212. So now with him, allowing his body to get as big as it needs to, like he might also be in that top 5.
yeah. He's a strong competitor, isn't he? And he had to pull out, didn't he? Because he had surgery or something, didn't
Yeah,
he?
some kind of injury. Yeah. Now he moved from from Florida. I forgot from where, from Florida to Las Vegas, which is an interesting move because now in the States, a lot of people are going to Florida because of the lack of restrictions and so forth. But he might have some kind of business situation there. So I don't know, but it's possible. So, and I enjoyed the production. Like I thought that was probably the best Olympia production that I've seen ever. I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think about it? Do you recall like what it looked like?
Yeah, I think it looked pretty good. I mean, a lot of shows I think tend to like the lighting sometimes tends to like dull people out, doesn't it, and
Mhm.
oversaturate. But yeah, it looked pretty good, and I think they had to do that this year as well, didn't they? Because the majority of their audience were watching it online, weren't they? So they had to make sure that it.
Yeah, well, it was given on pay-per-view, so I think I forgot what it cost. I think like $40 or something like
Yeah,
that.
like,
But
yeah,
it was completely worth it because I mean the video was clear, everything was great, like everything looked good, everything was professional, the music was nice. So I mean I definitely think that really helped them out. And it truly looked like a legitimate sport.
yeah.
And that's kind of like what bodybuilding is always trying to achieve, right? Like just trying to look like a more legitimized sport, not a niche type of situation. So,
Yeah, it's
but
definitely a show I want to go and watch. And I mean, I wanted to watch it last year. I wanted to go and watch it again, but obviously with everything going on,
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't meant to be.
Let's hope for the best with this upcoming year.
Yeah,
They moved the Arnold to September, so if you get a couple of months off, watch September
yeah,
the Arnold and
yeah.
stay in the States for December in
I don't-
Olympia.
it's one of my things to do. It's one on my bucket list. I want to go to
Yeah.
America. I want to watch the Olympia. I want to, and now that I'm doing what I'm doing, working for myself, I can actually do that. I don't have to ask for time off at work. I can go.
Absolutely. I didn't actually think about that. Yeah, you're your own boss. You just
Yeah,
make it, you just
yeah.
pencil it into your calendar.
Go in, off I go.
That's it. So as far as your personal goals for competitive goals, like what are you looking at this upcoming year? Are you trying to compete?
So yeah, I'm competing actually next month. So
Oh
I've got
wow, okay.
I've got a regional qualifier to do. I mean, if shows are going ahead, this should be going ahead. So that's with Two Bros. I don't know if you're familiar with them, which is
Yes,
part
I
of.
am. Mhm.
So I've got my regional qualifier on the 13th, and then the pro qualifier on the 28th. So this year I'm trying to get my pro card, and then obviously depending on what I'm looking like, maybe do pro debut if I get my card this year, next year, or whenever I'm sort of ready to do that. And I mean, all-time
Mhm.
goals obviously is to go to the Olympia, just even to step on stage for the Olympia, whenever
Sure.
that may be. But I mean, yeah, this year I'm trying to get my pro card.
Okay. So next month you've got a show. So are you competing in the figure division?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Have you thought about competing in any other divisions?
No, I mean, I'm too big. I'm too big for bikini.
Mhm.
I'm way too big for bikini. Um, I don't really. I really like figure. I like the balance. I just. It's one of those categories like
Mhm.
my physique fits to. And I mean, I'm not even maxed out in that sort of capacity at all. I mean,
Sure.
some of the professional figure girls, they're absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a category that I think I resonates really well with me. I mean, people keep saying I should do physique, maybe upper body when I tense it. Yeah, it looks physique, but definitely not lower half. And
Mm.
I just don't think, for me, I don't think it's a category I aspire to go into. I'll see where my training takes me essentially, because that's what I enjoy doing. But I like figure. Figure's always been that category I've been drawn to, really.
Right. So when you say your lower half, is your lower half coming a little big or a smaller? Like what do you mean
It's
by that?
well, it's always been my lower half. That sort of stereotypical thing of like girls love training lower body. It's always like huge glutes and this and that. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
have a bad lower half, don't get me wrong. And I've brought it up a lot. Like it's now, in balance with the rest of my body, but my upper body always overpowered my lower body just because
I
I think
see.
the genetics and just because I just love training upper. Um, it's all in balance now. But I think even if I did think about even just, dipping my toes into physique, I'd get myself handed to me really, because I'm just not the same size as some of
I
the.
see. It's a size issue. Yeah. So I was actually thinking of the other direction as far as wellness, but you're saying that if your oh, upper body overpowers your lower body, probably wellness wouldn't even be
Oh yeah, I'm
in
not.
the equation.
I'm a reverse of wellness, really.
I
If you
gotcha.
think like
Gotcha.
yeah, I
I
mean
th-
that my lower half's good now. Like I'm really happy with my lower half. Like I said, it's
Mhm.
all balanced out really well. So I'm just happy where I am at
Yeah,
the moment. And like I said, I've got to make sure I haven't even reached the ceiling and figure yet. And I mean, there's
right.
so many girls that you look at, like Sid,
Yeah.
the you're winning absolutely insane. So
Yeah, I'm hoping to get Sid on soon, but yeah, it's going to be difficult to to dethrone her. Who do you think has probably the best chance to do so?
I
I
mean,
know I
there's
know I know I'm putting you kind of a little bit on the spot with that question, but
so obviously like Latoya, I always get it. It's Latoya, isn't it? Is that how you say it?
yes, Latoya.
Yeah. She's obviously like a close caller. And then it sounds really bad, but there's I think it's called Zenobia or something like that.
Yes,
There's another one.
Zenobia. Yeah, yeah.
She looks really good. There's a couple of others, but I think like
Mhm.
there's I don't know if you're familiar with like Rhea Gale. I know she's placed. I think it was 8th or 9th this year in the Olympia. So she's from the UK.
Okay, I might have to look her up. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't. But are you saying she has a decent build that she could crack
Yeah,
the
I
top
think
five?
yeah. So she's from the UK and that this is her second year at the Olympia and she's like I think it was 8th or 9th.
Hmm.
I think it's just that structure in general is like what the judges are going for, which is very like
Sure.
similar to what sort of Sid has. But they're the ones that sort of stand out for me. There's probably others in there, but when I'm looking at the lineup, they're the ones that sort of like pop out for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting you mentioned Zenobia because I talked to her a little while back, and last year I had her on the show before the Olympia. Well, I apologize, not last year, but actually the year before that. And this is 2021. I have to keep
mm,
remembering. So, but she didn't even get to a point where she could come out on stage in the evening, and then this last Olympia she comes in fourth. So like you see like how much like improvement she has made. So I wonder in your situation, if you go ahead and you compete, you get your pro card, and what would you need to go to the Olympia? I guess you would need to win a show, right? Correct.
So I think, I mean, I'm not 100% on this because obviously I haven't looked that far into it. But I think
Mhm.
what you need to do is like acquire a certain amount of points. So I think it's
I
don't quote
see.
me on this, but maybe it's like top two, top three.
Hmm.
And then I think if you get a win in a certain show that qualifies you for the Olympia, I think it was like the Europa that like
Yeah.
qualified. If you won that, that will take you to the Olympia, and you get ones that are qualifiers. So something like that, really. I mean, but I don't. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Like I'm not. I don't know. I think people might say I lack confidence in myself, so I just need to see obviously what happens
Mhm.
and then how I compare next to other pros. Like when and if I become a pro, it's really difficult, because I think I could become pro, but it's just obviously seeing what happens. Because for me,
Sure.
one of my downfalls is conditioning. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't come in out of shape, but I'm just not as sharp as some of the other people that come in. Um,
Yeah.
it's very frustrating.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it lack of confidence. I think you seem to, from what I'm hearing, you seem to be a realist, and you're very meticulous in how you look at yourself and look at your competition. So you know what you need to improve, and and it seems like you're doing what you need to do to get there. That's the way that it appears to me. So at least,
Yeah, I mean, probably, yeah, I should say so. I would say so, but
yeah,
I've never thought, if I get to a certain point in my career where I think I'm better than everyone or anything like that, because there's always someone better than
of,
you.
of
Um,
course,
and the
yeah,
fact I don't ever, it's that sort of like cheesy saying, isn't it? Like you're content but like not like satisfied with what you're doing, so it just keeps you
yes,
pushing further. So I mean that's the way I always like to be. I don't want to look at myself one day and be like, oh, I look all right, because that's the day I know I'm going to stop pushing myself. So um
that's
like
it.
I'll say it to the average person, they'll be like, oh, you're crazy, you're in insane shape. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not in stage shape yet, and I'm not a pro level state. Yeah, it takes time, but
Right.
it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of times when I'll speak with, like you said, more regular people, they'll be like, "Oh, you look great," and I'm like, "You don't understand." It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, you don't understand that the shape that you need to be in
yeah.
to step on stage is not the same shape that you need to be in when you go to the beach. It's like
No, no,
it's
no.
totally different. So-
I mean, I said to my brother today, because do you know who Greg Doucette is?
Yes, yes. I
You know, he
watch his
loves,
videos a lot. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, my brother's not a bodybuilder, but he's like, he comes to the gym with me, you know, every so often. And
Uh-huh.
I said to him today, I was like, oh, look, do you think I'm looking good? And he's like, yeah, you're looking good. And I was like, well, do you think I'm looking ready? He goes, no, you're not stage ready yet. And I thought he was joking. He goes, not, you're not up to Greg Doucette standards. I was like, I don't know what Greg Doucette says.
That's
So I'm working my
hilarious.
butt off here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That no, I get it. So when you say you don't seem, you can't get to that sharpness yet. Do you feel like that's like a product of just like time? You need like more time as far as in the sport, as you.
Possibly.
Mhm.
Possibly. I mean, I've been doing this. So I started competing in 2016, and that first year I came in absolutely like shredded.
Mhm.
But that yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. I wasn't carved up. I looked flat. I lost a ton of muscle from dieting too hard. So
Mhm.
I know I can achieve it, but I think it's for me, it's just finding that balance, you know, and it's frustrating. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating because I don't want to. I'd rather keep shape and look full than look like emaciated. Because you'll see a lot of competitors go on stage and they almost look emaciated.
Yes.
You know, they've got their ribs on show and like there's bone. It looks bony, and I'm like, I don't want that look. I
Yeah.
don't want to look like that. So it's like finding the balance, I suppose.
Yes, very true. And I know exactly what you're talking about because that's when I see someone that looks like that, I'm like, oh, what it looks like to me is they did everything and anything they could do to lose weight, and they probably lost a ton of muscle and everything else with it, tissue and so forth. Yeah, that's not a good look to bring to stage.
And
So
that's what scares me. And I mean, like, I'm willing to work hard, and like, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not working hard enough. And I'm like, well, I think I am. And I've got blisters on the back of my ankles from walking around all the time. I've got, I'm doing it, but
yeah,
it's just one of those things, like, maybe I'm not working hard enough. Maybe I've got to work even harder, or maybe I've got to pull back a bit. It's difficult to find. And I mean, I suppose I'm still in early stages of competing. I mean, I've only been doing it like what, 5, 6 years. It's not
yeah,
a ton
that's
of
what I
time.
was gonna say. Yeah, 2016, you're just, you're still in the early stages of competition. Some of these people have been competing for 10, 15 years, before they even get to a point,
Yeah.
where I mean, I remember when Ronnie Coleman, before he won his first Olympia, he was already competing for years, and he's been placing poorly, before he won his first. Of course, after that, then he, became the legend that we know of today. Yeah, that's amazing. So, do you train and coach yourself, or do you work with somebody to do that?
So the first like 3 years, trained and coached myself. And then I've had like a few coaches. Did really well with my coach last year, but he doesn't do online coaching, so I went another way and I've gone with a new coach now. Purely because not that I can't coach myself, it's just,
Mhm.
I've spoken about this a lot on like my social media and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
when you're deep in prep, you can't make logical, decisive decisions. You could look at yourself one day and think you look brilliant, and you don't, and then you can look
Yeah.
at yourself another day and think you look awful when you look good. And you could make quite a big mistake. And I think it's just important to let someone else take the blame for
Yeah.
that. And
There-
when you're managing more clients as well, it gives you a little bit more time to put into them as well. You don't have to
Sure.
worry about yourself so much, do you?
Sure, sure. That's I mean, it's terrible that the guy that you did well with, he doesn't do online coaching, because you could have stayed with him. But do you feel like you're meshing well with the coach that you have now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So that's great. I mean, that's great. You can't beat that. Is he gonna then? I assume it's a he. Maybe it's a she. But then that person gonna go with you to your show as well? They're
I
gonna be
think
there.
I think he's intending to, because he's got a few other clients that are going to be competing there. But again, I think it's boils down to whether like restrictions allow him to travel there.
Sure.
Um, because it's a distance, for me. So I'm in Cornwall and this is going to be in Liverpool. So I think it's over like I've got to drive like 320 something miles to get there.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then I think he's in Scotland or Cardiff. I can't remember now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
he's got to fly over or whatever. So it comes down to whether
Yeah.
restrictions are going to allow him really. But if not, like I've gone to shows by myself before. We've obviously got the wonders of the internet and stuff like that. So obviously I can do like FaceTime and check-ins and stuff like that. So
Yeah. 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 Do you feel like when you about to get on stage, or you show up in a show and you're by yourself, do you feel like nervous are you a nervous wreck at that point or no? You're pretty
No,
calm.
I'm really calm. I think it's because I used to do a lot of modeling and stuff like that, and I used to do like not like top end catwalks, but I still did catwalks.
Hmm.
I think from that experience has completely like desensitized me from being nervous. I mean, I don't get nervous. I get more like excitement to go
Hmm.
on. And like I get like butterflies and stuff to go on, but I don't get like it's not like a dread. It's more like oh, I can't wait to get on
Yeah,
stage
yeah.
sort of thing. And then when you come off and your calves are completely cramping up because you've been posing for God knows how long, and then you go back on, you want to do it again, don't you?
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's awesome. That's like that kind of championship mentality. Like all the people that do well, or at least they're driven. They never really get like they never fall apart. They usually just use that like you said, excitement to kind of drive them forward, and that seems like what you have there. So hey, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show. I truly really appreciate it. and
Welcome.
uh and if somebody wanted to contact you for online coaching, or they just wanted to get some advice, or be a client, what's the best way to reach you?
And probably Instagram, to be honest, because I'm on there all the time. That's literally where I run my business from. So it's just my handles, Miss B. So it's 2 underscores, Miss underscore B, and then another 2 underscores.
Awesome.
Um,
And in case they didn't hear that right, or they can't figure it out by how you said it, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the under the video.
okay,
So
they
so
probably
huh?
can't understand my English accent,
Oh no,
probably.
yeah. Oh, no, yours is great. I've had some people like, so lately I've been doing a lot of shows with people from the UK, and most of them are okay, but so since I don't know much about the UK, I don't know which accents are from where, but some of them are so strong that I had like a very difficult time understanding. Like
Oh,
somebody,
maybe Scottish or Welsh or something like that.
I think it was someone from Scotland. I had a very difficult time. Like I had to kind of listen twice, like make sure I'm getting what
Yeah,
they-
we have that problem anyway, so it's fine.
that's that's funny. But I mean, yours is great. You're very easy to
Thank
listen to.
you very much.
All right. Well, thank you again, and you have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.